Friends, close your eyes and imagine that you are stuck in a deserted place with nothing but big mountains. No people to talk to, no water, and no food to eat. In such a situation, you have to stay for 127 hours, that means 6 days. That too in a situation where you cannot move a little because there is a stone weighing 370 kilos laying in front of your hand, which causes your hand to start rooting. Now this things is so painful in imagination that you wish it never happened to anyone in real life. But unfortunately, an American named Aaron Rulfon has faced such a situation. This man was trapped in a valley where his hand was trapped under a rock weighing 370 kg. And yet this man survived from there by the power of his will. But how? I will know that in today's video. Arnett worked at Intel, but after 5 years working for a major corporation like Intel, he became mentally ill. Then he decided to do adventure. He decided to climb Daniel, the highest mount in North America, and left until in 2020. He moved to Colorado City to climb Mount Daniel. After arriving here, Arnett began exploring the mountain with his friends. But one day in 2003, Arnold was climbing resolution paper with his friend. They were then trapped in a deadly avalanche, but luckily they escaped from there. But after that day, all his friends had left Arnold. But he was not about to back down. What God has written one man's forehead will happen to him. On the night of April 25, 2003, Arnold decided that the next morning he would go on an adventure to Blue John Canyon, Utah. As planned on 26 April 2003 at 9 o'clock in the morning, Arnold rode his bicycle towards Canyon. Arnold thought he would be able to return from Canyon that evening, so he took with him 2 buns to eat and a 350 ml water bottle to drink. Now Arnold has reached the blues by cycling, but he has to go to mountains, so he had to park his bike 11 to 9 kilometers away. From there he had to walk. As Around walked in the blue zone, his eyes suddenly fell on a 90 feet deep canyon. Now he thought about going there. As Arnold slowly plunged into this valley, Arnold encountered a major turning point in his life. Suddenly, a huge stone weighing 370 kg slipped and fell on Arnold's hand. His hand was completely buried under the stone. Around was shouting for a reason. The helpless Arnold was screaming for help, but 32 kilometers away from the city and 98 feet below the surface. No matter how many screams, no one can hear it. He did not even have a phone to call for help. Every second, Arnold was fighting with himself. On the other hand, he came here without telling anyone, so there was no last hope that anyone would come here to find him. Arnold was now completely helpless. After that, he tried hard to get out. Arnold tried with all his might to remove the hand from the stone, but it was not impossible to remove the hand from such a heavy rock. Arnold now tried to scream and also assumed that his death was certain. Arnold that remembered that he had a toolkit in his bag with which he could slowly cut the stone. He took out the toolkit from the bag with one hand and tried to cut the stone for 15 hours continuously, but it was impossible to break such a big stone with such a small toolkit. After 15 hours, he realized that now he had no choice but to die. By now, both his food and water had run out. What happened next was the most difficult in his life. He then decided to drink his own urine. He even single handedly inscribed his date of birth and previously assumed date of death on a store in the canon. Now he is waiting for her to die. Now, as the night approaches, the weather in Canon is getting colder, which makes it more difficult for Arnold. 5 days passed in such agony that Arnold shivered with cold. So, to distract himself from the cold, he began to imagine that he was playing with his future child. Arnold's hand began to root due to the lack of blood circulation for so long. But the decision Arnold made after that was even more terrible. He decided that he could cut off his stabbed hand. The man took out a knife from his pocket and started cutting his hand, but the knife could not cut the bone. So he thought that with full force it would break the arm bone. You won't believe this guy actually did it. Arnold has intent broken his bones. He cuts his hand and frees himself. Arnold walks out of there. Then a family saw him. They informed the police, and Arnold had to amputate himself to save himself. Finally, Arnold escaped from there.